Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Dwynn, and today I have for you 4 fabulous Christmas tree ornaments. Welcome back to my subscribers and to all visiting my channel today. I hope you will feel inspired to make these ornaments for your Christmas tree. Okay, let's get busy and I will show you how I made these really awesome Christmas ornaments. Let's look at the first ornament we're going to create today. And we're going to do this ornament on these wood cutout ornaments that you can purchase at Hobby Lobby in the Christmas craft department. And these come in a package, I believe there are 3 to a package. I'm going to be covering them with scrapbook paper. I love to cover ornaments with scrapbook paper. So on the front side, I'm going to be using this green with white lettering that says Merry Christmas. And then on the back side, I'm going to have the same design paper, but it's a white background with red lettering. So each side will have a different look. The cap on the ornament, I just paint red. Now, the green scrapbook paper that I'm using on this ornament comes from that booklet of scrapbook papers in the Christmas department at Hobby Lobby. Everything there is 50% off in the Christmas department. I use a crimson Waverly red chalk paint to paint the cap on the ornament, front and back. I'm going to be Mod Podging that scrapbook paper onto that wood ornament. Now, there is a front side to that ornament. You'll see the cap has a little bit of a scallop on the front side, but it's a little bit straight on the back side. So be careful which side you intend to be for the front of your ornament. Just remember to look for that scalloped edge in the front. So I just take Mod Podge, and I love to put my Mod Podge in a squirt bottle. Oh my gosh, it's fantastic. My camera is jumping a little bit today. I'm not really sure why. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to cover the ornament with a nice layer of Mod Podge all the way out to the edges. Not too thick, but just a nice generous layer. Nice and even. This scrapbook paper adheres extremely well to these wood cutouts. No bubbling or any kind of effect like that. So this is the back side of the ornament. Remember I said that the cap on the back side is straight, as opposed to it's a little bit scalloped at the bottom of the cap on the front, just so you can identify the front of the ornament from the back. Now, for this, you place these wood ornaments on your scrapbook paper. I just use a pencil to trace around it to get the shape of it. I cut it out with scissors, and then I place it on that ornament. Now, there will be some trimming to be done. You can use a zip sander for that. I think it takes longer with the thicker scrapbook paper. I think it's just easier from my perspective, just to trim it up with scissors. So you could do either or. I tend to use the zip sander if I'm using like a napkin, but this thicker scrapbook paper, you can trim it up very nicely with a pair of scissors. But you do you. If you prefer to use a zip sander, you can do that. I just think it takes longer. Okay, I have here some beautiful red and white striped, very narrow ribbon from the Christmas department at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to be using that for the hanger, and I'm also going to be making a little 2-loop bow to go right at the base of the ornament cap. I'm also going to be placing 3 jingle bells underneath the center of that bow, which I'm going to adhere to that ornament with hot glue. Now, I put the word Mary on here with those Ray Dunn letters that you often see me using if you follow my channel. I'm going to tell you now that I ended up using white. And the reason I used black is because I searched everywhere I could possibly think of for my white letters. Could not find them. But then, of course, after I completely finished the ornament, I found them. So I really preferred to have the white letters on this ornament. So I ended up just taking my little pick from Dollar Tree and I just peeled them right off and I replaced them with white. And you'll notice that when you see the ornaments at the end. I'm going to create a hanger for this ornament and I just use that narrow ribbon. I feed it right through the hole. I overlap the ribbon a little bit, use a little bit of hot glue, and just adhere it onto itself. Now I'm going to be placing that little tiny bow up there, right below the cap. I have these little tiny jingle bells. I'm going to be using 2 green and 1 red. I'm just going to place them in kind of a triangular shape right beneath the button or the center loop of that bow. Now this is a very simple ornament, but it just goes to show you how you can take a simple piece of wood and convert it to a super cute ornament. I love creating these kind of ornaments. And that's it for the first ornament. Now I'm showing you here, you can use your zip sander or just a piece of sandpaper or a nail file, whatever you choose. But like I said, I just think it takes longer, but you do you. It is an option if you don't prefer to just trim it out with your scissors. Okay, now here's ornament number 2. I love this one. It's simple, but just fabulous. I love this one. So I'm going to be using this black and white buffalo check, which I am a huge fan of buffalo check, whether it's black and white or red and black. It doesn't matter. I love any kind of buffalo check. So what I'm going to do is just place that wood ornament. Now I'm using another one of those wood ornaments from that package from Hobby Lobby. And I just trace around the circumference of that wood ornament. And I cut it out with my scissors. Now, no matter how accurately it seems that you trace around that wood ornament, it still always seems to be just the tiniest bit too big once you place it on there when you Mod Podge it. So that's the reason why you usually have to trim it up. I'm not sure why it's so difficult to get it exactly, but that's just about the best way you can do it, is just to trace around it. Now, for the cap on that ornament, I ended up painting that white with Snow White Waverly chalk paint. Now I'm getting ready to apply my scrapbook paper. Now I'm just going to do the same as that I did with the other ornament that we just did. A nice generous layer all the way out to the edges. Now remember which is the front and back. You see the little scallops there on the cap? That's the front side. Now, working with this buffalo check, you want to be sure that you have it straight up and down, unless you actually want your buffalo check tilted sideways. I like mine straight up and down. I just press that all down with my fingers. You're not going to have any kind of bubbling or rippling with this technique. This is a very sturdy scrapbook paper, so you won't have that issue. Now, I'm going to do something that I just love doing. Any of you who follow my channel know I love to mix my patterns. and I'm going to do so on this ornament, and it turns out, from my view, absolutely fantastic. I love it. So I have this mini buffalo check. It's a wired ribbon. I believe that one's from Hobby Lobby. I think I picked that up during Thanksgiving or in the fall department. But I do think they also have it in the Christmas. So I'm going to be creating a little 4-loop bow. This is a very small one. If you would like to see how I make bows, I do have numerous tutorials. And I will put one of those tutorials in the description box if you want to refer to it. I take a piece of wire, not pipe cleaner, too bulky for these tiny bows. And I created a very small little 4-loop bow. Now I'm going to take this little tiny gingham check from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to create another little tiny 4-loop bow. I want to say the loops are comparable. This little bow here might be just a tiny bit smaller. Again, I take a piece of wire, wrap it right down the center, twist it in the back to secure the loops. And I love the idea of taking this bigger buffalo check and putting a bow on with a small buffalo check and then the gingham check. Oh, I just love this. Now I'm going to be placing those two bows together, but I need something right down the center of that bow. So I had just enough of that buffalo check there that I cut off the tail, and I'm just going to wrap it and put it right down the center. And I love how that looks, matching up with the base layer of that bow. And I just wrap that around and hot glue it on the back. Again, you can use your zip sander, as I said, or you can just trim it like I do, just with scissors. I'm going to go ahead and put on that other piece of scrapbook paper on the back side of that ornament. But first, I am going to put on some of these fabulous Rae Dunn letters. Again, I picked these up on Amazon. I'll put them in the description box. I used white ones in this tutorial and black ones. And these are a nice, little bit taller size. I'll put all that information again in the description box. I'm going to put joy on this ornament. I always put my center letter first and then build my other letters out to the sides accordingly. In this case, there's only 3 letters. I love to use the word joy on Christmas decor pieces. And I think this is just the perfect touch for this ornament. This is a great farmhouse style ornament. I love all ornaments. I don't care what it is. Farmhouse, traditional, rustic, boho, you name it. I love to make them. So I'm going to make a hanger for this ornament, and I'm going to use that little gingham check, and I just do a little teardrop shape. Oh, no, I ended up feeding that through. I'm sorry, not the teardrop shape this time. I feed it through the hole, and then I just overlap the ribbon on itself with a dab of hot glue. If you have any of that scrapbook paper that's kind of built up or bending over in that area at the bottom of the cap, you can just take an X-Acto knife and cut that off. And I just glued that bow on, and we'll take another look at that ornament in a little bit as it's finished. And here comes our gingerbread ornament. Now, this is a nice chunky size ornament. I picked up this wood round at Dollar Tree. I believe it's 5 inches in circumference, and it's a nice thickness. And I have more of these gingerbread. If you've been following my previous projects, I have really been using these little gingerbreads that I picked up on Amazon. I absolutely love them. They come 12 in a pack, and I am just really creating a lot of pieces with these. So this is another one. I'm doing a gingerbread ornament. So I'm going to be using black paint, just a black acrylic, red Waverly chalk paint and crimson, Snow White chalk paint, Waverly on this ornament. Now I have a piece of scrapbook paper here, which I changed gears, you'll see in a little bit, and I decided to use a different piece, but these 2 pieces, as well as the one I ultimately used, came again from this booklet of scrapbook papers from Hobby Lobby. They have so many cute ones in there. I'm going to use my favorite ribbon, the polka dot with the stripe on the other side. Love that ribbon for Christmas decor. I'm going to be using Mod Podge for this ornament. Okay, so for this ornament, as you can see, it does have some thickness, and I think this will look best if it's painted on the sides with Waverly Snow White chalk paint. Now we're going to work on our gingerbread here. I'm using this Crafters Collection gingerbread color. It's called Toasted Almond. I got this at Hobby Lobby, and I've been very happy with this paint. It's really a nice color for gingerbread projects. I'm going to paint the front and the sides of this gingerbread. I do put 2 coats on the gingerbread. Now this is the scrapbook paper that I decided to use for this piece. It's candy canes, and again I got it from that booklet that I just showed you. I'm going to trace around this wood round. I'm going to cut out 2 of them because I'm going to cover the front and the back. I always think it's a good idea to cover the back side of your ornament, even though most of the time it's not really seen on the Christmas tree, but I just think it's nice to finish a piece. I have this ultra narrow ribbon. It's very, very thin, and I absolutely love it. It is a red and green ornament. You can see it right there. I'm going to be creating, see, it's pretty, from Hobby Lobby. I love this one. I'm going to be creating a little tiny bow that's going to go on the front of the gingerbread. But first, I have to be working on the face and the trim of the gingerbread. I have these 3, actually 2 little heart buttons, but I ended up using 3. I got those in the sewing department at Hobby Lobby. Again, you'll notice I am still fresh out of my sling from my arm fracture. Actually, it's actually more of a shoulder injury. So you'll notice at times I'm a little bit awkward, and I appreciate your patience watching me struggle sometimes. And I really so much appreciate your well wishes. It just came often at times when I'm feeling very frustrated, and I am so appreciative for that. Okay, so I'm taking a pencil. I always draw on my design before I start painting. This way you can correct any mistakes before creating any damage with paint. I'm going to use a very fine tip paintbrush. Now, yes, you can use a paint marker if it has a very fine tip. But this is very fine lines that we're creating here on these small gingerbread. I prefer to use a very fine tip paintbrush. I'm using Snow White Waverly chalk paint, but I do water it down a bit so that I have a good smooth flow of paint going on with my fine tip paintbrush. And I do go over those lines a couple times. I'm putting the light in the eye there. I already painted on the eyes and the mouth. I do give that gingerbread some very tiny little eyelashes. Then I go over my lines because I think it's better to have a really sharp white line on these gingerbread cutouts. All the extra little time taken for the little things to me makes such a difference. And just going over these lines really improves the look, the overall finished look of the ornament. Okay, while I have a moment here, I just want to invite you to subscribe if you are not a current subscriber. And if you like what you see on my channel, I hope you will give this video a thumbs up and leave your comments. I love receiving them. And if you ever have any questions about anything, I'm very responsive and I'm getting back to you, and I will reply and help you out in any way that I can. I'm always happy to help out a crafter. So for the nose and for the cheeks, I'm going to just use a dab of that red Crimson Waverly chalk paint. And you can use other methods to rosy up cheeks, but I prefer to do it with a bristle brush and a little bit of red paint. But first I'm going to just put a little round dab for the nose. It's just a little tiny circle. And then I am going to take that bristle brush, dip it in the red paint. Now, I take a paper towel and I just circle it around on the paper towel with my brush until it's almost completely off the brush, but just barely there. And then I just circle it around on the cheeks. And I think this is always just the most awesome touch to any gingerbread. Those rosy cheeks are wonderful. Okay, so I have my little tiny bow there. So I'm going to adhere that now with a little dab of hot glue. And I'm going to place my little buttons down the front. Now, as I mentioned before, I do put another little heart button right in the center of that little bow I created at the base of the neck. So cute. Okay, so now I have my wood round and I'm ready to adhere my scrapbook paper onto the wood round. I'm going to take some Mod Podge and apply it just the same way we applied the other scrapbook paper to the wood round. These gingerbreads are 4 inches high, and this wood round is around 5 inches in diameter. So it sits very nicely on this wood round, and I love this ornament because it's a little bit bigger, more of a chunky size, and I love that on a Christmas tree, to have some bigger ornaments as well. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that scrapbook paper. Again, just adheres so beautifully with Mod Podge. If you need to trim it up, you could do so with scissors or use a zip sander. And as I'm indicating, you just go ahead and do the other side as well. Now we have our gingerbread all finished, except for that little heart button that's going to go right there in the center of that bow that I just mentioned. I have a little bit of string of glue there that's bothering me. Okay, so we're going to place that right in the center just by applying some glue, hot glue. Going to be also putting that polka dot bow right at the top of that ornament, along with a hanger. Now this looks so cute at the top. But first, we're going to create a teardrop shaped hanger. I just fold it over on itself, and at the base, I put a dab of hot glue. I just glue it right on the back. Now be sure to align it with the head so that it hangs straight on your Christmas tree. I'm going to go ahead and put the hanger on first, then I'm going to apply the bow. I'm thinking this might be my favorite of the four, but I do love that black and white buffalo check one so much too. I love all of them, but I think this gingerbread one, I love that one. Which is your favorite? Tell me in the comments which one you like best. All right, so we have number 4. Now, these frames come in a 4-pack, and as you can see, each one is a little different. And these are great for putting like family photos or a photo. Actually, you can only put one person in it because the openings are very small. I think they're like 2 by 3 maybe. Very small. So you have to choose just one person or your dog or your cat or whoever. But it's fun for displaying pictures of family and then creating ornaments and hanging them on your Christmas tree. So I chose this particular one. I'm going to be doing a more traditional type of ornament for this piece. So I'm going to be using Waverly Snow White. What am I talking about? Waverly antiquing wax. Yes, I'm so used to saying Snow White chalk paint because I use so much of it, as you could see by my horrendous looking jar with the drippings down the side. Oh my goodness. Okay, so back to the subject here. Antiquing wax, yes. It's just a very small job. So I just dipped into the lid and just took a paper towel. I cannot talk tonight. My goodness. And I just made sure to cover both sides. And any excess, I just kind of wipe it off. I just wanted to keep it kind of light in color. But as I mentioned, this is going to be more of a traditional ornament, and you'll see what I mean by that in a minute. I do both sides. These make really pretty ornaments, as you will see. Okay, so I have a couple little pieces of greenery. I believe those were little pieces from a package of evergreen stems that I got at Dollar Tree. And then I have some very tiny little gold pine cones, very, very tiny. They came on in a little bunch from Hobby Lobby. And then I have some very small little holly berries. So I'm going to be using a buffalo check bow on this piece. I'm going to create a 4-loop bow, secure down the center again with a piece of wire. Now you see what I mean here about the more traditional look. The buffalo check, the little evergreen pieces, the little baby pine cones, and the berries. I love this look. I absolutely love to make a big evergreen wreath with big chunky pine cones and berries and a beautiful plaid bow or a buffalo check bow. Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. Year after year is just stunning. No matter how many years you see it, it's still so beautiful. So I created a little loop down the center, and I just angled my tails. I'm going to be putting that little buffalo check bow. It's a little wired ribbon, so it's going to hold its shape nicely. And that's going to go at the top of that picture frame. But before I put on that bow, I'm going to be placing a couple pieces of greenery right at the top. I'm just going to hot glue those on. I can't wait to start using my Gorilla Glue gun again. I've been using that little baby one. It's easier for me to handle at this point in time with my limitations. So I'm going to hold that down so I get a nice adherence of those greenery pieces. Then I'm going to glue on my bow. And then I'm going to finish up placing those little tiny pine cones around the bow, as well as those little berries. I'm going to just pop that right down in the center. I like to take a utensil like my scissors or something like that and really press that down. Now, when you put your ornaments away at the end of the holiday season, put your ornaments with bows on them toward the top of the box so they don't get buried and squashed. Just a little word to the wise. Okay, so I'm going to pop a little tiny gold pine cone right there underneath the button of that bow or the center loop. And that looks super pretty there. And I'm going to put one out on each side of the bow. You see what I mean here about the more traditional look, but it's just stunning. I love that look, that traditional. I love the buffalo check look. This could be considered farmhouse too. And I put my pine cones on. Now I have my little tiny berries there that I'm going to also place. Just adhere those right into those greenery pieces sticking out there. Now I had them clustered, but I soon realized that wasn't going to work. I was going to have to snip them off and individually place them. You see, I'm attempting that, but it's not going to work. So I just snipped those off with wire cutters, and then I'm just going to use the tiniest bit of hot glue right at the base of the berry, and then just pop them in. And this adds a really nice, pretty pop of color. Now I used a little tacky glue to adhere. There's my delicious little grandson. Is he so cute or what? Just had to bring that up. And I'm going to be making a hanger. I'm just going to, it's just folded over into a tear shape, glue it at the bottom. I love to make hangers like this. And I'm just going to glue that to the bag, and that's going to look beautiful behind that little buffalo check bow. Look how pretty that is. So simple, so easy to do. And here you have the finished ornaments, the beautiful finished ornaments. I love these, every one of them, but I might have to go with the gingerbread as my favorite. I have 4 more coming up next video, equally as beautiful. Okay, until next time, you all take care.